Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer finally coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown and the capital city on this Friday. Means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If it's not, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Been certainly a long and fun week for us here on the station. Got back last night into New Orleans a little bit before 10 o'clock. I was in bed at 12:02. Last night. But we're ready to rock today on this Friday. We got a lot to cover over the next 2 hours. The SEC has announced its order of finish by the SEC media as well as the All-SEC team in the preseason. We will certainly discuss that. I planned on opening the show today talking about Tyler Shough's contract negotiation and where that stands as it's about time to go to practice. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Preston Guy with us in 15 minutes. I've got my predicted order of finish for the SEC, so lots and lots and lots to do. But we do have some breaking news from LSU, so let's get to that in our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
This just came down within the last 15 minutes from LSU, so I am reacting to this in a raw way. But it's a big announcement from LSU. Dan Borne, the longtime public address announcer of Tiger Stadium and the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, is stepping down. He is 79 years old and decided to retire. Of course, Dan was not on the mic in the PMAC or in Tiger Stadium this past year, dealing with some health situations. And he announced via LSU, there's a press release that's just been sent out. He said, I would like to thank LSU and our fans for so many seasons of fond memories. It's been a great honor, and I deeply appreciate it. I am 79 years old, and it's time to retire and return the microphone. I'll be spending more time with our family, and will always bleed purple and gold. Dan Borne has been the public address announcer for 38 years in the PMAC and 36 years at Tiger Stadium. I am 37. So quite literally my entire life in those two venues, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like Dan Borne. And it'll never sound like that again. But the memories that his voice will conjure up for me personally and for tens of thousands of you that are listening to me right now and that have been in those two buildings is priceless. And you go into the PMAC this year and you have a little bit of different sound, and you had Bill Franquez in Tiger Stadium, and certainly the game will go on. And I thought both guys did an awesome job this year. I thought Dixon did a great job when he was filling in a little bit for basketball, and I thought Bill was great in Tiger Stadium for football as well. And Bill Franquez has this same exact history and the same exact emotional attachment to Alec Box, where he's been the public address announcer for 3 decades. And so there's just, to me personally, as someone who spent so many times and has so many great memories in those venues, there's just a tinge of sadness to me that it's never going to sound like that again. I mean, y'all can, I'm sure I'm not the only one here. Y'all can hear Dan Borne's voice in your ears when you think about some of his iconic phrases. The chance of rain, never. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday night in Death Valley. Here come your Fighting Tigers of LSU. And you can hear inside the PMAC, he would always say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a nationally televised audience to the PMAC. It's just Collis Temple III. There's so much that it puts a smile on my face. And I told the production team right when this came down 10 minutes ago, I was like, I read it, I got chills. Because like so many of you that are listening, some of the best memories you have in your life outside of your family are celebrating at LSU games. And Dan Borne saying, Leonard Fournette, score! And I mean, it's iconic. And it's an emotional attachment that you have that I think you take for granted, or at least I did for sure. I'm a 13-year-old in Tiger Stadium. I'm a college sophomore in Tiger Stadium. Will take my son to his first game in Tiger Stadium this year. And it's a big part of LSU that maybe you take for granted until it's not there anymore. And Dan just did an amazing job in both venues and is legendary. I mean, they'll, I'm certain, play that pregame video in Tiger Stadium. It's a pantheon of concrete and steel. The sun meets its home in the western sky, and that's Dan's voice. And there may be a pretty large contingent of you that listen to me that didn't even know that was his name. You just knew that was what Tiger Stadium in the Assembly Center sounded like when you went in there. And I was fortunate in my college careers, my college years, to go to different stadiums multiple times. And I can tell you what the Ole Miss Stadium sounds like. I know what I don't know his name, but I know exactly what that sounds like. I know what the Bryant Denny PA guy sounds like. And I certainly am well familiar with what the PMAC and Tiger Stadium have sounded like over the years. And the funny thing is that I graduated in journalism at LSU in 2011, and we had some national media member scheduled for our announcement address. I don't know who it was. I don't know what the reason that person, male or female, I have no idea, couldn't be there. I just know that they canceled fairly late in the process. And Dan Borne was asked to do it, and he did. And I remember the address. I may not have remembered what the person from whatever media outlet came down said. I may not have. I wasn't the most mature cat at that age. But I knew Dan Borne's voice, and I knew who he was, and then he started talking about LSU, and well, I'm going to listen to that. And he asked, he told us, I often get asked how I got the job as the public address announcer at LSU. And my answer is quite simply this: I asked for it. And his entire address to us, a graduating class from LSU, was the power of the ask. Don't be afraid to go up to somebody and ask for something. Don't be afraid if an opportunity presents itself to say, hey, can I do that? And you look back almost 4 decades later, and Dan Borne's built an incredible legacy on the microphone in 2 iconic venues in sport. And Dan was a very, very, very successful business person who just did this because he wanted to. And I hope he realizes how big an impact he's had on so many people. Because, again, to circle back to this, where that part started, and for those that are listening, I want to be very clear. You could catch this in the middle and not hear what I said at the beginning 8 minutes ago. Dan Borne has retired as the public address announcer at LSU. So certainly not any sort of eulogy here. This is just a celebration of a wonderful run in those 2 venues. And there are so many people that will have lifelong memories that his voice is so attached to. And I just think that's such a cool thing. And LSU, I'm certain, will look inward and then look outward and see what they want to do in the future now that the decision is permanent. This was a kind of a temporary thing last year when Dan decided he wasn't going to do it, that the health situations weren't going to allow him to do it, and LSU kind of adjusted on the fly. And again, I thought that all 3 men who were asked to do public address in Dan's stead were wonderful in doing it. We'll see if that's kind of where LSU decides to stick, or if they go and do another search. But this is a very similar moment for me to when Jim Hawthorne stepped away from the microphone, because we were actually talking about this in Atlanta this week about the technological advances and some of the things we can do. And I was like, I'm getting old enough now where I can I'll be able to tell my kids some stuff that even sounds really old school now. And one of them is like on Tuesday evenings when LSU was playing Mississippi State in basketball, that wasn't on TV. There was no SEC network. There was no ESPN Plus. So I laid on the floor in my bedroom and listened to my Sony boombox, and I listened to Jim Hawthorne and Kevin Ford call the games. And that was how I did it. And because of that, Jim Hawthorne is etched in my brain forever as a sentimental piece of my childhood following LSU sports from 3.5 hours up the road in Shreveport. And it was emotional for me when Jim stepped away. And Chris has stepped in and done a phenomenal job, and I've gotten to be great friends with Chris, and he's given me a wonderful opportunity, and things continue on. Like, LSU doesn't stop playing when these things happen, but there's an emotional moment where you look back and go, man, that was great, and now it's gone, and all that you've got left there are those memories. And for Dan, I know for me, it'll be odd moving forward for a little bit, not to have Dan's voice inside those two venues, because he did such a great job for so long. And I've just had so many great moments in those two venues, and I know that everyone that's listening, if you care at all about LSU sports, feel the exact same way. And the Saints went through this a decade ago with Jerry Romig, and the Superdome doesn't sound the same as it did when Jerry was on the call. I still have, this is the most random thing. I mean, you know that Jerry Romig, for third down, and like some of those things that he does every single game, but the name that's burned into my brain from Jerry Romig in the Superdome is from the Oklahoma National Championship game. I was a high school sophomore, and I was at that game, and Oklahoma's running back's name was Kewan Jones. I don't know if he ever played a down in the NFL or if he played 10 years in the NFL. I have no idea. But I can still hear Jerry saying, Kewan Jones. It's maybe I pay attention more than some because this was my track and I got into sitting behind a microphone. But certainly a career and a run and a legacy worth celebrating for Dan Borne, 79 years old, stepping down as the public address announcer in Tiger Stadium and the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. LSU announced that just a few moments ago. So I wanted to open the show with that. That's our Genesis opening drive here on this Friday. Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Looking for a po' boy this afternoon? Maybe wanting to feed a family, got a birthday party coming up or a pool party and you got to feed the masses. Corks can do that. They're great with catering. Jumbo shrimp, crispy fried catfish, shoestring fries. Awesome stuff over there at Corks. You can check out the whole menu at corksfishandshrimp.com. We'll come back, talk some more LSU with Preston Guy next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
The SEC announced its projected order of finish, according to the media. It was present at Atlanta and decided to send their picks in. I forgot to do that, so did Matt. That's okay. We had plenty of people there to send them in. Texas picked to win the league. LSU finishes fourth. Let's talk about it with Preston Guy from TigerBait.com. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Preston, how are you?
Right, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
It's going well. Let's talk about that predicted order to finish. LSU picked fourth behind Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. How do you feel about it?
I like it. I mean, that's about probably that's fair. I think being behind Alabama is the one where I kind of question that. But again, Alabama beat LSU 42-14 last year, so I mean, you can't feel too bad about it. And the one thing I'll notice is every other team behind LSU, there's a substantial drop-off. LSU got 20 votes, and I believe next was maybe Oklahoma with 5. So it's certainly telling that LSU is among the top in the pack in the SEC. And, after LSU, there's a big drop-off. I think it means LSU is considered one of the contenders in the conference.
Yeah, to your point, LSU with 20 points there. South Carolina was next with 5, and Oklahoma with 3, which was what you were thinking of there. And that was essentially, consensus is a strong word. That means everybody agreed. But that was a strong majority in Atlanta. Was like, yeah, there are 4 teams, and then there are the other teams. Do you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, I think exactly that. And it's fine. I mean, I think it's a fair rating for LSU. Obviously, what matters most is what to do on the field. But, when it comes to LSU having special seasons, very rarely are they picked number 1 preseason in the SEC, but they very rarely come out of nowhere either. So you definitely want to have that recognition that you're among the top teams. What I take greater issue with is Lenore Stellers getting first-team QB and Nussmeier getting third-team QB. I'm sorry, second-team QB. When I saw Nussmeier's second team, my first reaction was, oh, those son of guns, they put Arch Manning number 1, didn't they? But they didn't. To their credit, at least they went with the returning starter. College football's leading returning passer just linked to his first-team SEC.
I think that I was a little surprised at Nussmeier on second team. I was also pleasantly surprised that Caden Durham and Aaron Anderson were both on the second team. How'd you feel about that?
I think that I guess my first reaction was, man, there's not a ton of returning running backs in the league this year. But, I think that both those guys showed promise and poise. I think Caden Durham being hurt as often as he was, I think he ran for 750 last year. I think that there's a lot of promise and potential that people see in those players. I will say this, LSU got the second and third team return specialists, which I thought was pretty funny given LSU is only going to have at least one punt returner back there. So nice to see. Xavier Thomas and Darian Brown get that honor.
Yeah, I mean, those guys have been great returners in the SEC previous to coming to LSU, and then Thomas had one big play last year. I'm scrolling through, and I'm curious. I was wondering what people would do with Harold Perkins, and they settled with putting him on the second team. How'd you feel about that?
Fair, more than fair. I would have thought third team would be fair for him, given, when in his career has he been a consistent, every game elite player? And the answer is he hasn't. It's been 3 years. He's been hurt. He's been out of position. He's been, essentially at his best, he's been used as a utility player. Now, I think that on pure potential, I think he's got as much talent as anybody in the league on defense. But it just has to eventually show up on the field. So especially for these preseason things, I get a little mad when you go too much on the potential of a player. It should be more about what they've accomplished. And I think that where they're ranking him is more than fair given, what he's accomplished versus, his talent level.
I look at the defense, first, second, and third team, not an LSU Tiger to be seen in the secondary. It's just a wild, wild thing to look at.
It is, but, you're talking about this era of portal guys.
Yep.
It's hard to project that a guy transferring in from somewhere else is going to be a star, all SEC type player. Mansour Delane is a guy who was all ACC, but I think that these writers are a lot like me in this respect, that they have a lot of hesitation about putting too much hype from a guy coming from one of the lower tier Power 4 conferences to the SEC. Because we've seen it's the Jonathan Giles effect. A Biletnikoff finalist at Texas Tech and could barely touch the field at LSU, had to change his numbers mid-season. He was so bad. Until that story doesn't exist anymore, I think that writers will have that same hesitation seeing an ACC guy or even a Big 12 guy coming to the SEC.
LSU, and kind of a straw poll that I took in Atlanta, was the most pronounced team out there. They spoke with the highest aspirations, and it was a different feel than the other 15 teams that came. Do you care about that at all? They were talking about competing for championships and winning a national championship and this and that. Does that do anything for you in July?
Well, it doesn't surprise me, Hunt, because of how polished Brian Kelly is in this regard. He's very political in his approach. Even in a few conversations I've had with him off the record, just kind of shooting the, he's very political and poised, and that reflects in his team. That's a good thing. That's one of the reasons why you hired him to be the adult in the room for your football program, which was very much so needed in tone shift for your program. I think that's reflecting with the players. I think Nussmeier is as likable and as poised as they come. That shouldn't surprise you, given his pedigree being Doug Nussmeier's son. Whit Weeks is out there, very polite and polished, and Chris Hilton is the one, I'll say. The maturity and poise and the fact that coaches felt he was a good representative of the program, given how much has gone down in his career and how he hasn't been able to be reliable on the field. I think if anything that you're going to translate from media day translating to success on the field, that's the one I think might actually translate to success on the field because of what it means for him, not having been on the field consistently, missing time, questions about, well, is this truly an injury or is there some maturity issues? Is there something going on? Just questions that we don't know the answer to. Well, I think it's pretty indicative that coaches do have a lot of faith in Chris Hilton to go out and be not only, a productive member of this team, but a leader on this team. That to me is the one eye-opening thing that I saw.
We just got word that Dan Borne is stepping down after 38 years in Tiger Stadium and 36 in the Assembly Center. You got a reaction to that?
Dan is a great guy. First off, legendary voice, iconic phrases. We all know about that. I'll tell a quick story about Dan Borne. I like my stories from when I was an unknown intern in the SIB. Didn't really matter to anybody. Nobody knew my name, right? And I interned with this girl named Ellen there, and he had a manship school shirt on, which is the mass communications school there, the journalism school for fans not involved with all that. And Ellen thought it was just the coolest shirt ever. He's like, oh, well, they gave me this. Let me see if I can get you one. And she just said there thinking it's the coolest thing. About 30 minutes later, he kind of realized, I don't think I can get you one of these shirts, sweetheart, but I'll tell you what, you can have this one. And he gave this just unknown intern literally the shirt off his back because she thought it was cool. I was like, if anything reflects a man's character, how about literally ripping the shirt off your back for some, not an important person, some intern, like I was back then. Anyways, that story will always stick out to me about Dan. Very sad to see him go. I did have to check up, and this fall he's retiring immediately. So LSU will have a new voice. I wonder if they go Bill Franquez, seems like the pick there, or if they go with a more permanent guy. I know Bill has a lot of other responsibilities.
He does. He's got a lot of responsibilities in June in Omaha, but I think in the fall he's pretty free. He did it last year and did a great job. So we'll see if Bill does it again. At the end of the release that LSU sent out, it said that the search for a new it says a search for the next LSU football and men's basketball PA announcer will begin immediately, is what it says in the press release. So we'll see what that means. It's a little bit late to try to get one for football, but I guess they theoretically could do that in 6 weeks. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, maybe Hunt Palmer throws his name in the ring.
That's not likely to happen. I don't think anybody wants that, and I don't even really think I want that. I'm good in the press box doing a little pre and post game show with Big Fave. That's a little bit more my speed, so we'll stay in our lane on that perspective. But I appreciate it. Have a great weekend, Preston.
All right, talk to you soon, man.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Football is around the corner. I talked about this a lot this week, but this is, and obviously this is stating the obvious, okay? But the best way for me to get into football is for the baseball team to eat up all of June and then win it. So I'm just riding a high. And then it's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like you think about like when they lose in that regional and it's like June the 6th and they're out. And then you don't have SEC Media Days till July the 10th. That's tough. And if you want me to start yapping about second team left tackles in the middle of June, like you got another thing coming. Like I can't, I'm already ticked off because the baseball season ended and it didn't end the right way. And you're trying to force this on me in mid-June. You get me a natty in late June, 2 weeks in Omaha, and then I can come back and go to Media Days 2 weeks later. Like I'm all in for football now. Bring all of it. Give me Missouri's schedule. I'll talk about South Carolina's wide receiving core. Like I'm in now. The reluctance comes when I'm being pouty and sad about baseball ending and football's too far away. Now football's not too far away. The Saints start practicing in 6 days. So I'm good. Like Media Days was fun. I had a great time. I'm in on football so much now. I'm fired up for it, and it's because the baseball team did things the right way in June and finished it off. So now we can dive into football. I know there are tons of you that are going, God, I'm just ready for baseball to get over with so we can start talking about the real sport. And that's fine too. Everybody can do exactly what it is they want to do. But I'm telling you that what I want to do is start talking about football in the middle of July, not the middle of June. And shout out to Jay Johnson and the folks because they let me do that. So let's talk about some more football coming back. The Saints haven't gotten a contract with their perceived starting quarterback. Let's talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. The staff sets Genesis apart. It's just a phenomenal group of people that are going to treat you like a guest, not a customer. Stop by the facility. Chat one of them up. They're not going to be pushy. They're not going to be aggressive. They're not going to upsell you or take advantage of you because you're not sure what you're looking at or whatever. They're going to help. That's the point. And they take pride in that. So don't be afraid or intimidated to go to the lot, airline at PQ, and just have a conversation. Ask some questions. You'll get answers. And then you'll get behind the wheel of one of those Genesis vehicles, and you'll feel the difference. It's a luxury vehicle, and it's at a reasonable price. So go by and see them. Check out the inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Make a purchase. 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, 3 years of complimentary maintenance. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
So, we haven't talked a lot of Saints this week, obviously. Been busy diving into 16 SEC football teams, but the Saints are getting close to getting on the practice field. Middle of next week, the Saints will put on some helmets and get to work. And right now, there's a possibility that the proposed starting quarterback for the Saints won't be a part of that workout. Tyler Shough remains unsigned right now. And there's a logjam of picks right at the first part of the second round that remain unsigned because the players and their agents' representation are looking for fully guaranteed contracts. Now, everyone knows in the NFL that it is a business. The players know that their teammates are there to do a job, to feed a family. The players know that the organizations are dealing within a salary cap and that every owner's appetite for spending is a little bit different. And everybody's aware of it. We don't think about it when they snap the ball or when it's 3rd and 7 or when you're going to the game in the Superdome, but everyone's aware of it. And it can get ugly at times. And there's a constant tug-of-war between the players' union, the players, and ownership and executives. Constant. It goes on when you draft a player and you're looking to get a deal signed. It goes on in free agency. It goes on with holdouts and potential extensions. It goes on with folks getting cut. And y'all have heard me be pretty consistent that I feel like in the situation the Saints are in, I want them to conserve funds to try to get out of this salary cap situation. So you heard me say, not crazy about the Kamara deal. Kamara's a great player, been incredibly professional in this tug-of-war that I'm just talking about. He went to work every day, played through injuries, broken ribs, Nothing to do with Alvin Kamara as a player or as a person, where he's been a complete pro and one of the best players in the history of franchise. But I'm looking at the price tag on a running back at that age, and I'm going, I don't love it. They signed Juwan Johnson to a multi-year deal, and I'm going, well, I look at this production, these measurables, that price tag, I don't love it. And y'all have heard me consistently say, save the money, save the money, save the money. And so you look at this Tyler Shough deal, and I'm going to change my tune on that because it's a completely different situation. What are we talking about here? We're talking about fully guaranteeing this contract in the second round at pick number 40. And we're talking about essentially him being guaranteed right now in the range of 92% of his deal. We're talking about 8 to 10% of his rookie deal, which ultimately, to make it as boring and simple as possible, we're talking about $1 million 4 years from now. That's what we're talking about to get this thing done. I want you to pinch pennies when you're talking about signing free agents to multi-year deals right now, when you're at the bottom of the league, your win total's at the bottom of the league, your roster's old and expensive. I want you to pinch pennies. When you draft a player 40th overall, the earliest you have taken a quarterback in the last 50 years, and you say, this is the guy we think can be the next quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, and we're talking about $1 million 4 years from now, you pay the $1 million, you get the contract signed, and you get him on the practice field. End of discussion. I realize that there is reporting that is emerging this week that is suggesting that NFL owners are in cahoots with making sure that contracts don't get fully guaranteed. And so you can't do that. I won't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. Everybody don't do it. Then there won't be an expectation that we do it, and we can save some money on that. I understand how that all works. In the same way, free agents are asked to go get as much money as they possibly can to set the market for the other free agent at their position in Major League Baseball and in the NFL and in the NBA. The players work together. The owners work together. I don't think it's some sort of massive conspiracy that's got to be uprooted. I think that it's just business, and everybody understands it. But there's no law that says you have to do any of it, and what the Saints need to do is make their second-round pick at quarterback, who's supposed to be the starter in the face of the franchise for the Kellen Moore era, they need to make him happy and get him on the field. And if we were talking about some massive, massive amount of money that was like salary cap altering, okay, maybe. It's $1 million. 4 years from now. Something tells me that organization in New Orleans can find a way to work the books over the next 4 years to free up $1 million. I get it. You could look at this from the other side and go, well, what if he's terrible? And then we've got to pay this money at the end of the deal, and we've already moved on from. We want to protect ourselves from that. You're not in a position to do that right now. Your protection from that was to just not pick him at all. This is a different position. You don't treat quarterback like you treat outside linebacker. You don't treat quarterback like you treat safety. You don't treat quarterback like you do left guard. It's the quarterback. It's the franchise. This is not a significant enough amount of money to just buckle. And I don't care if you think Tyler Shough signing for this fully guaranteed contract at pick number 40 is going to start some domino effect where third-round picks are going to be guaranteed massive amounts of money. I just don't buy that. I don't buy that. I get hold the line. I get everybody's... You're talking Saints, you're talking Chargers, you're talking Dolphins and Falcons and Seahawks. Everybody, stop with this fully guaranteed stuff. We're going too far. I get that deal. The Saints have to bucket here. You have to pay the quarterback this insignificant amount of money and put him on the practice field to start developing. Because the worst thing you can do is have a guy who's not under contract miss a bunch of training camp in his first year and then have to either hold him out of real games for a while because he's not ready to play or throw him in there when he's not quite ready and have him get eaten alive. Everything I've talked about with the Saints over the last, since they took Shough, so the last 3-4 months, has been, okay, now that you've fired the coach you don't think's any good, that you've made the decision for a couple of years not to be big spenders in free agency like you were, and kicking cans down roads and all that stuff we always talk about. now that you got the coach and you've made the decision that you're going to kind of reset a little bit, everything you do has got to be about making this the healthiest ecosystem for Tyler Shough possible. And what is not part of that plan is holding out $1 million 4 years from now from him, getting him into camp late and screwing up the first training camp of his professional career. No. No. That's the wrong way to go about doing this. And I'm fascinated over the next 72 hours how this plays out, because you're playing a game of chicken. And if I were to truly give the leverage, like, I would give it to Shough. Like, I think he's got a leverage advantage here because the Saints need him in camp. Like, they're eventually going to do it, and I don't think Shough's going to buckle. It's his first year in the league. So it's not a slam dunk. I can make the case for the Saints leverage, like, hey, kid, you want to practice or not? We got Rattler. We're good to go. I just don't. It would be unconscionable to me for the Saints to sit there over $1 million and sit across the table from the guy they just drafted and brought to OTAs and rookie minicamp and brought him in, who's said nothing but awesome things in the media about the city and about his opportunity to be a Saint, and you hear nothing but awesome things about the way he's handled himself in practice, and go, hey, bud, this is $1 million we're not willing to part with. You're not getting a fully guaranteed contract. We're going with Rattler until you decide to get off the couch. No way. No way. $50 million, $20 million, let's talk about it. 4 years from now, in a discussion. Where's the pen? Sign the deal. It just seems so easy to me. We're talking about 1 and 2 percentage points of a contract here. I realize that rich people and successful people didn't get there by giving away 7 figures at times and just backing off of negotiation tables and taking the loss at negotiation tables. I get that. People that reach that level of success in life are able to get what they want from the people they want it from. But sometimes you've got to read the room and understand when you have to give someone the W. And in this case, the Saints need to make Tyler Shough happy, not frustrated and ticked off. That's my 2 cents on this whole thing. Jordan, you listened to that diatribe and rant and rave. I don't know what Charlie said about it earlier today, but this seems easy to me.
No, man, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. I mean, I was bobbing my head the whole time, like, yeah, man, Hunt's spitting right now. This is definitely it makes no sense. You don't make this type of move if you're not willing to pay the man. Now I get it. Well, actually, I don't get it because I don't get the people that are, oh, bro, it's $1 million. Like, it's not your money. It's not. Who cares that it's not your money? And like, oh, Gail Bench is putting around a tithing, bringing around, like, hey, everybody put $1 in there or something like that. So it's like
you pay for that at the beer stand.
Yeah,
when you pay for the $11 beer, you're helping Gail out.
Those concessions, but you would think that she's going around putting envelopes in people's mails, like, donate to pay Tyler Shough. Like, guys, he needs to get paid. Like you just said, you do not want him to be in a situation where he doesn't have enough practice and he goes out there and he gets eaten alive. Yeah, because it's the NFL and they will eat you alive.
Yeah, if you don't practice.
If you do not practice, you don't get these reps, because reps mean everything. So, like you said, we need to do this as fast as possible. So this guy, if you really plan on him being the face of the franchise and being the man, he needs to play. Simple as that.
There are baseball terms. There's in baseball, Major League Baseball, they don't have a salary cap, and so sometimes the money gets a little wonky. And there's a process called arbitration where a player says, "I'm worth this," and the organization says, "No, you're worth this." And you have to go to an arbiter and you state your case, and the arbiter picks one, and so they'll be $25-30 million apart. This is one. Literally. It's one. No chance. Just do it.
I don't see it. I don't see what the problem is.
Come back and close out hour number 1 coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. Whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Wrapping up hour number one here, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week has been a good one. Hopefully it's in the rearview mirror. If it's not, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Corks brings you our Friday shows. Menu at corksfishandshrimp.com. All right. This is just an anomaly that I looked at. The SEC predicted order of finish and the all-SEC teams came out and was just sent out via press release by the media. And when Media Days was in Hoover, there was a significant bias in these rankings and teams based on the Alabama media taking over the event. They were just more random Alabama credentialed people there than there were any other school, and they're likely to vote towards Alabama. And you were just they're Touchdown Alabama magazine, which I don't even know what that is, but they was asking questions in every single press conference, and you had every local TV station had multiple people there because it was easy to get people there and drive in and out. And that doesn't really exist anymore as they move it around. And I didn't suggest that there was significant amount of media for anybody, including Georgia. Thought that it was pretty even across the board. So it made me chuckle to look at the specialists for the first team because it may contradict my thoughts. The first team punter preseason is Brett Thorson. He's Georgia's punter. The first team place kicker is Peyton Woodring. He's Georgia's place kicker. The long snapper is Bo Gardner. He's Georgia's long snapper. The kickoff specialist is Peyton Woodring. He's Georgia's kickoff specialist. The return specialist is Zachariah Branch. He's Georgia's return specialist. And the all-purpose special teamer is Zachariah Branch, Georgia. 6 spots, 6 Georgia Bulldogs were tabbed as the first team on special teams. Got to be the best special teams unit of all time. They had every single spot on the first team for the specialist. That made me chuckle a little bit. Now, Jordan, let me pose this question to you here. I'll give you an option because I've noticed this when we got home. We had a connecting flight out of Atlanta yesterday, which is pretty rare going to New Orleans.
Very rare.
We went Atlanta to Tampa, Tampa to New Orleans. And then we drove from New Orleans back to Baton Rouge. I got home at like 11:45. I was in bed at midnight. Like 12:02 is when I got in bed.
Okay.
My show ended at 3, as it does always.
Yeah.
And we got in the car right for my show and left. So it was about 9 hours between the time I left the hotel and got in my bed. So when I got in my bed, I did a Google Maps to the hotel in Atlanta, and it was 7 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So would you rather take 2 flights and a drive for 9 hours or just drive to 7.5?
I'll probably just drive the 7.5. Well, it's crazy because when I went to Atlanta, I flew in and we just went straight to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's like an hour, 20 minutes.
It's like an hour flight. So
we connected.
You could literally put a song on. It feels like you're there already. So, no, yeah, I would take that drive.
Cassidy, 7.5 hour drive or 2 1-hour flights?
No, 7.5 hour drive.
Y'all are nuts.
Come on, man. We road tripping.
Y'all are nuts. I like airports and airplanes. Like, Matt drove us back and Hester drove me home. So we got to the airport in Atlanta. I got a beer. We got on the plane. The flight from Tampa to New Orleans was like an hour and 2 minutes. I'm sitting there. I got a beer. I'm watching the golf highlights. There was nobody on the flight. I had 2 seats open next to me on the window.
So
it was a comfort cruise.
You did not preface you had a spot by yourself on the flight.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's different. That's different.
It was dark outside, so it was quiet and it was nice.
Well, I will say this: if I'm not driving the 7 hours,
well, somebody's got to drive.
If I'm a passenger,
I'm usually a passenger.
Yeah, so if I'm a passenger, I might take that 7 hours. Well, it depends on who's driving because it's like.
Well, I know when you're definitely the passenger on the plane.
Yeah, so I can have a couple beers while I'm not driving. I'm not driving the car. So
in New Orleans, spoken like a real New Orleans boy.
I'm not driving.
We say stuff like that, and people look at us like, "Are you crazy?" What did I say on the radio? I was talking to. It was the Super Bowl week, and I was talking to Himbo, who does. Who's on Greeny
ESPN
a lot?
Radio,
he does a bunch of stats.
He's basically Greeny's show because Greeny's never on there.
Right. I was telling him that I'd been hosting trivia at Pluckers, and I'd been doing trivia questions for like 18, 19-year-olds who were drunk in the bar, and he was like, "They're serving 18, 19-year-olds drunk in the bar." I was like, I didn't think twice about that. College, I don't know, whatever. We say stuff like that off cuff, and people that aren't from here are like, "What? You do what now?"
Oh yeah, especially when you go to a gas station and they got all the liquor, they're like, "What? You can go to Walmart and get liquor and all this?" Like,
but everybody I've told that we had a connecting flight out of Atlanta yesterday was like, "You got to be crazy." And yes, it would have been much more efficient for us not to go to Tampa. I'm never going to dispute that. Yeah. But my deal was that 9 hours was quite comfortable to me. Like, get in, sit at a bar, get on the plane, watch TV, get off. So we sat there, had a beer in Tampa, and then we were layovers like 40 minutes. Got on the plane, then had a great flight that was an hour. It was easy. See, I don't want to drive 7.5 hours. I don't like doing that.
The main like seasoning on all of this was that you had nobody sitting next to you on the plane. That just makes it so much.
Because usually when you get on a plane, they're like, in Southwest you pick a seat. And then we were on Southwest, so it's like, hey. Usually they come on and say, "This is a full flight. Find your first available seat." And this guy got on the mic and was like, "There are tons of empty seats on this flight. We don't even have a C boarding group. Just like, come on, get on." And we actually almost missed our flight because we were sitting there at the bar one terminal
A little
over.
too hydrated.
We heard them, and they're like, "You should be on the aircraft by now." And we're like, "Should be on the aircraft." And we ran over there and got on. But it all worked out.
Hey,
It's good.
It all worked out. But
Yeah, it was a great week. Had a lot of fun. But yeah, I did notice I laughed a little bit when I got in my bed, and I was like, we would have gotten here faster without some sort of significant traffic event, by just driving as opposed to flying. But I would rather fly. It's fine by me. All right, that's it for hour number 1 here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Talked about Dan Borne's retirement at the top of the show. Preston Guy talked a little LSU football with us and talked some Saints in the last segment. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. We'll come back and I'll talk about my order of finish for the Southeastern Conference coming up. That's after Sports Center on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Red Sox riding a 10-game winning streak at the Cubs in the first game after Major League Baseball's All-Star break. Seiya Suzuki, a 3-run homer off Lucas Giolito. Chicago's up 3-0, top third. Bengals with a little more pressure to get a deal done with superstar pass rusher Trey Hendrickson, courtesy of AFC North rival Pittsburgh, which made linebacker TJ Watt the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Negotiations between Hendrickson and the Bengals on a long-term deal have not gone well. Big mistake by Cincinnati, says Freddie and Harry co-host and former NFL receiver Harry Douglas.
You look at the history of the Cincinnati Bengals, and I get it, y'all. They paid T. Higgins, they paid Jamar Chase. But when you have a guy who's had 35 sacks over the last 2 years and was the only bright spot of your defense last year that was 25th in the National Football League, and you have dreams and aspirations of making a Super Bowl and not wasting time for Joe Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, then you need this guy on your defense.
Our Harry Douglas on Get Up. Scotty Scheffler won back of leader Matt Fitzpatrick at the Open Championship. Rory McIlroy is 6 shots off the lead in golf's final major of the year.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Monday, the Steelers made T.J. Watt the highest-paid non-quarterback in the NFL. But when will Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson get their deals done? We'll talk about it on Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, final hour of the week here on the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. I'll get you updated in 15 minutes on the signings from the Major League Baseball draft. You know where everybody was selected or wasn't selected. There have been some LSU-related signatures in the last 24 hours that we'll get to here in 15 minutes. I told you earlier that the SEC announced its media poll and went through and gave a projected order of finish. Texas was first. Georgia was second. That was very, very close. Alabama came in third. LSU was fourth. And then there is a separation. And South Carolina comes in at fifth. Florida comes in at sixth. I'm going to give you my projected order of finish here in a second, but that's something you heard me say if you were listening over the course of the week. Florida, I think, is going to be better. Ole Miss in, I guess that's 7th. A&M 8th, Tennessee 9th, Oklahoma 10th. It surprised me Oklahoma's not higher because a lot of people were pumping them up over the week in Atlanta. Then comes Auburn. Missouri is just ahead of Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. So, and I think that there's a consensus top 4 and a consensus bottom 4. Everybody's got Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU at the top. Everybody has got Mississippi State, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt at the bottom. And then you've got this big blob in the middle that's just impossible to decipher at this point. And so I'm going to give you my projected order of finish and give you kind of a thumbnail on why. You heard a little bit of this throughout the week as I went through every team that came through. But I want to be clear. Projected order of finish is not the same as power rankings. When I do power rankings for all 3 sports, I'm telling you who I think's better. Who I think is a better team, top to bottom. This is projected order of finish. This bakes schedule in. So it's different. It's impossible in July. It's also different. So I realize full well that there's a lot I don't know about these football teams. And there's a lot I don't know about their opponents. Like this time last year, not that it matters in projected order of finish in SEC play, but like what were we thinking about Florida's chances last year to go beat Florida State? Florida State coming off that phenomenal year where they go undefeated and Travis gets hurt and they get left out of the playoff and they're coming back, but Norvell's got that program going in the right direction, and then they face plant. Nobody thought that Florida was going to beat Florida State last year. Yeah, they did beat them easily because Florida State was terrible last year. We didn't know that in July. So I'm just giving you my thoughts. They're based in some research. They're based in some reason. And I'll give you my projected order of finish here in the SEC. Chuck Oliver convinced me yesterday when we sat down about Georgia. He said, last year they didn't really know what they were doing with Carson Beck, and their wide receivers were atrocious, and they were trying to replace all those guys off that defense, and the defense didn't look quite as dominant. And, oh, by the way, they had to go to Tuscaloosa, and they had to go to Oxford, and they had to go to Austin. They had and they won the league. They won the league. And that's a strong argument. That's a strong case because they've recruited incredibly well. Kirby's a brilliant coach. And I trust there's a lot of quarterbacks at SEC Media Days, and we talked to a lot of them over the course of 4 days. And I listened to a lot of them, various podcasts, watching TV. And the quarterbacks like Gunnar Stockton. The guys that sit there and watch the tape and have seen limited amounts of Gunnar Stockton, they like what they see. So I'm not going to buck the trend. I'm not going to try to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to take the most established current program in the league that's the defending champion, that everybody likes their quarterback. I'll take Georgia at number 1. I am going to take Texas at number 2, and the reason I'm doing that is because of the talent factor. I just think they've got so many good players that they have recruited. They have embraced this NIL thing. They've gotten as flashy as possible with all the Lamborghinis, and they've become a cool program. They've been good 2 years in a row. I think Arch is going to be fine, and I've got him at number 2. This is where it gets interesting. And I put LSU at 3. I think LSU's overall team talent is a notch below Georgia and Texas. I think that Garrett Nussmeier is a really good player. And I think that they're going to be better on defense. Plus, I like the schedule. It's difficult, but in the league, I like it. You do have to go to Tuscaloosa. You do have to go to Oxford. That's tough. But Florida comes to you, and A&M comes to you. One of your road games is Vanderbilt, which is always a big deal to me. Sorry, Alabama last year. At Vanderbilt is a big deal. South Carolina's got to come to you. You got Arkansas. I like the schedule for LSU, so I like LSU 3rd. I do like Bama 4th. I'm not going to break away from the consensus top 4. I've got those top 4 in my top 4. Georgia, Texas, LSU, and Bama, top 4. The Ty Simpson questioning was loud in Atlanta. It was very loud. In fact, yesterday Chuck Oliver told me he thinks Keelan Russell's going to take over, the freshman 5-star. He thinks that's going to be their quarterback eventually. When you're unsettled like that at quarterback, that's a problem. So I got Bama at 4. Now keep in mind, and we talked about this team yesterday. So you were listening yesterday. You're catching a rerun here. This is projected order of finish, not talent. Missouri. I've got him 5th. The SEC media had him 5th to last. I've got him 5th total. And that's because I'm looking at a schedule that includes South Carolina at home, Alabama at home, at Auburn, at Vanderbilt, A&M at home, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, at Arkansas. They don't play Texas. They don't play Tennessee. They don't play Georgia. They don't play LSU. I think I said Ole Miss. They don't play them. It's just very manageable. And they've won 21 games the last 2 years. 9 and 10. Or 10 and 11. Sorry, 10 and 11. They win a lot. So I got them at number 5. I got South Carolina at 6. A lot of people think they're going to take a step back. The SEC media did not as a whole. They've got them at number 5, right behind LSU. I've got them at 6. I've got Ole Miss at 7. That's right in line with where the media had them at 8. I think that Ole Miss will score points. I don't think their defense is going to be nearly as good. When you're replacing a lot of NFL guys and you're telling me that Deshaun Womack and Sage Ryan are surefire starters there, I'm not sure that's a great recipe. So I've got Ole Miss at 7. I like Florida more than a lot of people. Now, Florida was picked number 6 by the media, so as a whole, but a lot of people don't like them. I do. Schedule's hard. That's why I don't have. I think Florida's better than Missouri, but their schedule's harder. So that's why I put Florida at number 8. That game in Baton Rouge in week 3 is just going to be massive. I got Oklahoma 9th. That's about where they were in this preseason poll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They got them at 10th. I've got them at 9th. Mateer has got to be a difference maker for them, no question about it. I've got A&M 10th. They've got to be physical. They've got to run the ball, and they've got to be a little bit better on defense. I think all 3 of those are going to be strengths. Marcel Reed is fine. He's a fine player. I don't think he's going to be a difference maker. I don't think he makes them a threat to win the league. I think they're going to win 8 games. I said that when they came through yesterday. I think they're an 8-win team, so I've got them at number 10. Auburn, right where the media has them at number 11. That's exactly the same as me. Tennessee at 12. Marlar, Chris Marlar, our social media director, has got some reels with questions for the various media members there that are going up on our 104.5 ESPN socials. And he asked who's the most disappointing. There was a lot of Tennessee. I was in that number. I said Tennessee. I don't think they're going to be a great team this year. I think that they've lost a lot from that running game. I don't like where they're at quarterback, and that defense is going to be good, but it's going to have to be better than it was last year because I think their offense from last year is going to be better than their offense this year. I don't buy that. I got Tennessee down at number 12 at this point. And then that's when you get to the teams that are at the bottom of the league. I put Vanderbilt at the top of that group at number 13. And then I got Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. In that order, 13 through 16 is exactly the way the rest of the media sees it. Just talking to Brian Haydad from Super Talk Mississippi, we had him on the show talking about Mississippi State and where he thought they were. They just have no Jimmies and Joes. None. Their defense last year was just historically atrocious. And it has to be better, but how much better? And then are you going to score? Like, I don't know. And oh, by the way, they are not going to win a home game. Like, they're not going to win a league home game. And when you take winning at home off the board, that's when you got to be picked last. Because you tell me what home conference game you think they're going to win. Tennessee? Probably not. Texas? Nope. Georgia? Nope. Ole Miss? Probably not. So if you can't win at home, well, how am I supposed to pick you to win a game? Their best shot's to go to Arkansas and win. They could, but I don't love it. I got them last. Kentucky appears the entire momentum has swung out of that program. They had a really nice 4 or 5 year run with Stoops there. Probably honestly culminated with them kicking the crap out of LSU. It's probably when that in 21, that game where they just dominated LSU, that was probably the pinnacle of what Stoops was able to accomplish at Kentucky. Everybody kind of feels like it's the beginning of the end there. I've got them down there at the bottom. Hogs, not looking great. John Neighbors was on Matt's show yesterday. He covers Arkansas, said he cannot recall a less anticipated football season than this one. You've got basically a lame duck coach. It's ugly in Fayetteville. And then Vanderbilt is not last. Not last is what you could say for Vanderbilt. And I got asked a couple times up there in Atlanta, like, hey, you got to go to Vanderbilt? Like, I'm not worried about that at all. LSU will win that game by 2 scores. Vanderbilt's not good. Nice effort against Bama last year. Yeah, played Texas scrappy, and Clark Lee doing a great job, whatever. You don't have great players. Pavia is kind of one-dimensional. They came here to Baton Rouge, and they weren't moving the ball at all. Like, I don't think they're good. So it's a great story based on what their general baseline is. But a threat to win 4 league games? No, they're not. So there it is, my projected order of finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Bama. 5, 6, 7, Missouri, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. Florida is 8th, Oklahoma 9th, Texas A&M 10th, Auburn 11th, 12th is Tennessee. Then I've got 13 Vandy, 14 Arkansas, 15 Kentucky, and in the 16th spot, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. There you have it. Flame away. We'll get to power rankings right before the season starts. That'll look different than that. Missouri will be bumped down. Florida will be bumped up. And I would imagine that Ole Miss probably bumps up a little bit as well. But that remains to be seen. We'll see how things shake out over the next few weeks. But that's my thought on the SEC predicted order of finish. We'll talk some baseball. Who has signed big money contracts that won't be playing in Baton Rouge next year, and who's still holding out hope? We'll do that coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I got 4 kiddos in my house this weekend. Got some help as my wife flies out to L.A., but there's going to be a lot of bath action going on with 4 under 6 in my house. If that's not the case in your house and you don't ever use your bathtub and it's old or dingy or dysfunctional, or you just would like a cleaner, nicer, better shower, take the tub out, put a shower in. It's called a tub-to-shower conversion, and David Duvall and One Bath and Closets do it all the time. When you go in your bathroom this evening, just take a look at that tub and see if that's what you want your bathroom to look like. And then go to the website, OneBathAndClosets.com, and look at some of the pictures of David's awesome work and see what your bathroom could look like if you did so. If you're thinking, paying for it, maybe not the best time, financing's available. 0% up to 18 months, same as cash. Get the free consultation. That part doesn't cost you anything. Let David, who's been doing this for 3 decades, Customize your bathroom exactly the way you'd like it to look. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, let's talk a little baseball here. Some signings that have happened. First, awesome news that Luis Hernandez did sign an undrafted contract with the Minnesota Twins, so he will have a place to go play. I was bummed out. I said this on my show on Tuesday. I was bummed out that Luis didn't get drafted. Was really hoping that with no college eligibility left, that he would find a home. It's such a great year for LSU, doing something that I'm not certain he knew he was signing up for. It may be so. I would have to ask him, but he was certainly brought to LSU to help swing the bat and hits for some power. And you knew with White moving on, with Jared Jones in limbo with that draft, as he was draft eligible sophomore, like you needed to find some pop somewhere. And Luis Hernandez hit a bunch of home runs at Indiana State. And so they brought him in, and they knew that he could catch, and they knew he could play first, and they knew he could DH, and then Jones comes back. So you're like, okay, well, just jump in that catcher's competition. Let's see what happens. And he shined. And trust me, there were some rough spots defensively in the fall. I was sitting there one day, like counting balls went to the backstop. I was like, this is not good. I talked about it. And Jay Johnson said in the fall, like, I want those guys to hit. That's great. But the person that catches the best, that plays defense, that receives, handles the baseball, handles the staff, that's the catcher. And Luis won that job. And by the end of the season, you didn't really have any defensive catching issues. You did early, just a little bit, but none late. And he deserves a ton of credit for that. No, he didn't hit 23 home runs, but he hit some huge ones in the regional and just did a phenomenal job. And I was hoping that he would get a chance now that his collegiate career is over to play professionally. Didn't get drafted, but he does get signed by the Twins, so he'll have an opportunity to go continue to play a little bit of baseball. As far as the guys that did get drafted, Chase Shores went in the second round. He signed for full slot, $2.07 million for Chase Shores with the Angels. He'll get to work, and I'm assuming he's going to be a pretty fast riser for the Angels in that system with his stuff and that profile and 101 with the sinker and the hard slider. And if he can throw strikes like he did late in the season, heck yeah. It's a guy that, look, yes, there is $4 million available in the first round if you come back and absolutely light it up. But that's not a guarantee. And for a guy who's already gone through an injury, that's got 2 national championships in his back pocket, they can give you $2 million to go. Time to go. And then that's what I thought was going to happen all along. Now, if you want to see one of the interesting of how the draft works, the Braves saved some money early on in their draft. They took some high school players that have low numbers, and they scrounged up some extra cash. And the arm in the signing class that I told you, this is not a done deal he's going, but it's going to be tough, was Briggs McKenzie. And Briggs McKenzie, left-handed pitcher from the East Coast, North Carolina, he goes in the 4th round. And if you're thinking, well, 4th round, that's 2 rounds behind Shores, who got $2 million. Like, what is he signing for, like $1 million? Then you got agents' fees, you got taxes, and all of a sudden, like, that's not... He could make some money at LSU, and he could turn that into $3, $4, $5 million if he is great at LSU. And all that's true. That's the pitch. You hope to tell that. But when you're the Braves and you save some money early in the draft, you can turn around in the 4th round and sign Briggs McKenzie for $5.88 million. And you can go north of his slot by 2.4. Sorry, I gave you that wrong. The slot for McKenzie in the 4th round was $588,000, not $5.8 million. $588,000 was the slot, but he got 2.9, which is $1 million more than Shores got because the Braves saved some money and had it left over to give to McKenzie. He signed for $2.4 million over his slot value. And that's how the draft works sometimes. And that's why you're not out of the woods just because the 2nd round comes and goes and those high-end guys haven't been picked. Because if a team decides they're going to take a little bit of a bargain in the 1st or 2nd where they have a bigger slot and they can get more left over, they can go to Briggs McKenzie and say, yeah, I know your slot's $588K here, and you probably won't take $588K. And Briggs McKenzie, I don't know him, but I did some talking, and Briggs McKenzie wasn't going anywhere for $588,000. That wasn't going to get it. And that's what you see in the 4th round. But you have an extra $2.4 million lying around all of a sudden. That sweetens the pot where the 18-year-old looks at that and goes, okay, $2.997 million bucks. I'll go to the minor leagues. And that's essentially what happened here. The one name that is in limbo, I would say, at this point, and that I've actually been asked about a couple times, is River Hamilton. River Hamilton, big, physical, right-handed pitcher. He's from Oregon, was committed to Oregon State, and LSU got his commitment late. It was a flip, and he did not go in the top 10 rounds. So he goes into the 11th, and he's taken number 339 overall. And the way that pick works is they can give him up to $150,000 plus whatever they have left over from their top 10 round pool. And my contention, I don't know this, my contention is that River Hamilton will sign. If you go back and listen to the segment I did on the high schoolers and you go back and read it on LouisianaSports.net, either way you can do that. I've essentially batted 1,000. Hamilton's the only one that is up in the air. And I said that Hamilton was a likely professional sign. And I still feel that way. I think that he probably talked to the Tigers at that point and talked to them about numbers and what it might take. And the Tigers had a plan in their first 10 rounds. There's some guys at the top of their draft who they're going to be able to take a haircut on, and I think they'll be able to scrounge up the money to get Hamilton to sign. My feeling was, based on some conversations pre-draft, that the scouts liked Hamilton, that he was okay with the idea of going professionally immediately, but the dollars do have to make sense, and that'll be up to the Tigers to make that happen with him. Everybody else is pretty much an open and shut case for this baseball team. So you look at the portal ads, you look at the high school signing class, minus Hamilton, minus the guys that went in the first 10 rounds, and at that point, you kind of know what this LSU roster is going to look like when they start school here in a few weeks. And they'll start working out in September, and they'll start playing some games in October. And then we'll be right back where we started in January before you know it. And it's going to be another very, very, very good team. I was thrilled with the portal additions that LSU made while we were in Atlanta. There were 3 of them. If you want to know more about those transfers and you missed me talking about them on the show earlier this week and haven't seen the stories on LouisianaSports.net, there are 2 up right now called Portal Profile. And I profiled all the pitchers and all the hitters separate, like all the pitchers in one piece, all the hitters in another piece. So if you'd like to go check that out, you can at LouisianaSports.net. It's free. I've got some video in there from Twitter embedded of some of their swings, some of the guys' stuff on the mound. So if you'd just like to familiarize yourself with some of these portal guys that are going to be, I think, big keys to LSU's team next year, check that out over at LouisianaSports.net. I don't think you're going to see River Hamilton make it to campus. We'll see, though. Have 2 weeks to sign, so we'll see how that all shakes out over the next few days. All right, chugging along here Friday. We're brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. If you're looking for a po' boy, Cork's is an awesome spot. Big jumbo Gulf shrimp on that po' boy, fully dressed, crunchy, delicious. Awesome time to get a po' boy. If you're looking for a delicious baked potato with the crawfish etouffee and the jumbo Gulf shrimp over the top of it, they can do that for you too. They're on Government between Foster and Jefferson. The menu's online at corksfishandshrimp.com. Catering is something they love to do. So if you've got big crew you like to feed, tell the folks at Corks. They can make that happen for you. corksfishandshrimp.com. Step aside. 30 minutes to go on a Friday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. When I say Genesis of Baton Rouge, you should think that luxury brand of vehicle. But when I say luxury brand of vehicle, don't think, I can't afford that. Don't price yourself out. It's a luxury experience at a reasonable price. That's what Genesis is there to do. From the sedan all the way up to the SUV, every single model in the Genesis line got a IHA top safety pick. All of them. So no matter what vehicle you get in, you'll know it's one of the safest on the road. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ, across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Just a quick scoreboard update from Royal Portrush. I don't have anything to add to the context of the scores, but Scotty Scheffler made a heck of a run today at the Open Championship. He will be in the final group tomorrow. He leads after 64 today, 10 under. Matt Fitzpatrick, U.S. Open champion, at 9 under. Brian Harman, a former Open champion, is at 8 under. Hao Tong Lee shot 67 again today. He is 8 under. Chris Gotterup, who won the Scottish Open last weekend, is at 5 with Robert McIntyre and Rasmus Højgaard, as well as Tyrrell Hatton, Harris English, Tony Finau right there in contention as well. Rory McIlroy and Sam Burns, both 3 under, tied for 12th. That is 7 shots back of Scotty Scheffler. 7 shots back of Scotty Scheffler. Not a super fun place to be because he generally doesn't come back all that quickly. So Scotty Scheffler in control of that golf tournament right now. We'll see how things shake out tomorrow from Northern Ireland. I didn't spend a lot of time talking about the players on the all-conference teams. I talked about the order of finish. I gave my order of finish, and I'll let Preston talk about it in the first hour a little bit. But I wanted to give some thoughts. I know that it based on Twitter, which we'll see what happens in 28 minutes, but based on Twitter, Matt is not thrilled that Lenora Sellers was given the first team nod over Garrett Nussmeier. I think Matt is well aware that it's not that big a deal, and I don't think he'll say it's a big deal, but I do think that he feels passionately that Garrett Nussmeier is a better quarterback than Lenora Sellers, and that's just a subjective thing. They'll play it out, and they'll go, and I'll certainly let Matt do his show and talk about what he wants to. I'll address it as well here. I think there are a lot of people who watched Garrett Nussmeier melt down in the second half at College Station. I think there are a lot of people that watched Garrett Nussmeier play very poorly against Alabama. I think there are a lot of people that watched Garrett Nussmeier go on the road in the swamp and get out-dueled by DJ Lagway. Now, Garrett's running game was atrocious, and the LSU's defense was not good. It was bad most of the year, and I think Garrett's a heck of a player. But you can't take those away. And I think that Lenora Sellers late in the season put on a Superman cape against Clemson. Like, if Garrett Nussmeier plays the Texas A&M game in week 1, his first start, and plays the Ole Miss game, and where else was he really good? He was really good at Arkansas when they ran the ball pretty well. If he plays those 2 games at the end and plays the Ole Miss game last, like Lenora Sellers played Clemson last, and that's the memory people have of, oh, Nussmeier's kind of progressed to that, where he's making those throws in that moment. Or if he plays just the first half of A&M like he played the second half, and the second half like he played the first half, and LSU comes back to win because he was throwing dimes all over the field against the decent A&M defense, it may look better. But the way the season played out, I think as the games got more viewed, more eyeballs, there were turnovers. And that's what I think people are looking at. Sellers is an interesting case, and I talked about this earlier this week, because he is not winning from the pocket a lot. Maybe you don't have to. But I'm struggling to find the first team All-SEC quarterback in my mind that was just all over the place all the time. And you probably have to go to Manziel, and that was 13 years ago. Like, Jaden won from the pocket, like dotting it up from the pocket. If he had to get out, he did. But if he didn't have to, he didn't, and he lit it up. Sellers is playing like junkyard football, and it was great. But we'll see if he can win more from the pocket, where we know Nussmeier can thrive. Now, Garrett's got to run it a little bit more. He's got to make better decisions, but I think that he can. And if you told me I could have either Lenore Sellers or Garrett Nussmeier entering this season, I would take Garrett Nussmeier. But, again, I'm an LSU guy here in Baton Rouge. I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over Lenore Sellers being the number one first-team offense quarterback on the SEC play, but that is, I believe, the reason that happened. As far as the other LSU guys, Caden Durham and Aaron Anderson made the second team with Garrett Nussmeier. I thought that was really cool. Caden was hurt in the middle of last year, showed some home run hitting ability, which was awesome. And I think it's going to be really good this year, assuming the offensive line is functional. And Aaron Anderson, man, I could not have been more wrong about him in August of last year, because he got hurt in Alabama as a freshman, and he didn't really play, and he came to LSU in that first year. Like, I watched him in camp, and I was like, this guy's quick, he's athletic, he's going to be really good in the slot. Like, they got Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas out there, and like, he's going to be working the slot. He's going to be tough to handle. And he caught that first punt and didn't look real comfortable against Florida State, and then he just never did anything. Like, he was just a nothing burger. And so at that point, I'm going, okay, he's been in college a while now, and he's just not making much of an impact. That just may have been a recruiting evaluation missed by everybody. Wrong. He was great last year. His best stuff is within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage, but he also stretched the field a little bit. And for him to get recognized at a celebrity position, right? Like, wide receiver is a celebrity position. You're going to have the superstars like Ryan Williams, and I talked about Cam Coleman a lot last week, like this past week. I think he's going to be great for Auburn if Jackson Arnold can function at all. But to put Aaron Anderson in there with Ryan Wingo of Texas, in front of Eric Singleton at Auburn, who was the number one transfer portal wide receiver, and then Kevin Coleman at Missouri, I mean, like, that's great stuff for Aaron Anderson to be recognized in that ilk. As far as LSU goes on defense, Whit Weeks is a first-team linebacker. He joins Anthony Hill, a former five-star at Texas, and then C.J. Allen, who's a heck of a player at Georgia. So Whit is in there at linebacker, and I think he's going to have a monster season. I was curious where they would put Perkins. They put him on the second team, and that feels right. Like, it feels like, yeah, second team, we know you're good. We know you got a lot of talent. Probably need to prove that you're the best in the conference, but you deserve some recognition. I think that's a little bit of a lifetime achievement award for him there, coming off of an injury, but you're hopeful that that's going to go really well. But that's it for LSU's defense. And to me, like, I'm well aware that the guys that are voting on this can't go down every depth chart of all 16 teams and do it, and they generally work off guys they're familiar with. But for LSU to have just two guys on the total defense of three teams made up, it's just further indication that what needed to happen in the offseason for this LSU team in terms of roster building is just to raise the floor. And I think you do that with Jack Pyburn. I think you do that with Tamarcus Cooley. I think you do that with A.J. Halsey. I think those guys may not be second-round draft picks. Like, I don't think they are. But are they really good SEC football players? I think they are. I'm trying to, off the top of my head, come up with just some really good college football players that weren't like top two. Like Brandon Taylor comes to mind. I mean, he's a third-round pick. He'd have been a pro for longer if he didn't get hurt. But just a damn good SEC football player out there. Somebody like Jalen Mills, just a damn good SEC football player out there.
How you feel about Arden Key?
Arden Key set the LSU sack record.
Yeah,
so
he didn't go high in the draft
because he got fat and lazy. If he'd have done what he did his second year, his third year, he'd have been a first-round pick. But
I just remember him being like you said, super good at LSU, and then just fizzling out.
Guys, Spencer Ware, think of a receiver that was just solid as a rock, that wasn't just a star at the next level. There are guys like that you could go on and on about.
Not Derek Dillon. It's one of those guys.
Yeah, Derek Dillon. I'm looking one notch up from that. But I think that's what you're getting here. Like, I would rather LSU litter the first and second team like they did in 2019. That's better, but I don't think you've done that with this team, is the point that I'm making. And I don't think that there's a snub here on the defense for LSU. But if you just got 11 guys that are damn good, as opposed to 4 guys that are going to be at the next NFL draft walking across the stage, you can field a good enough defense to go out there and win a lot of games. Like, I would rather it look like Georgia's defense from 3 years ago. That would be my preference. But that's not in the cards right now. You got Weeks, who's a heck of a player. You got Perkins, who is probably not going to be a huge draft pick because he's not big enough, but can be a high-end college football player that can win some awards. But then you've got, and I rattled off those names of guys that they've been good. They're 23 years old, 22 years old. That's the model for this LSU team to be the best that it can be. If you instead of superstars, let's just go with no holes. Maybe DJ Pickett turns into a star. Maybe Patrick Payton, who I mentioned on yesterday's show, maybe he does get 13 sacks and he's first team all-league. Like, that's Patrick Payton could go in the second round of the draft, absolutely, no doubt. I don't think Jack Pyburn has that ceiling. I don't think Tamarcus Cooley has that ceiling. They've got physical limitations. But Patrick Payton doesn't. He's got every physical tool you could possibly want. And maybe he is a guy that could find his way on a postseason list of this sort. Maybe Ahmad Breaux or Dominic McKinley can do that. Maybe Gabe Relaford is that guy. Maybe Deshaun Spears. That's a guy we talked about off the air in the hotel. We're like talking about guys that we were having a discussion about who have we not talked about this week. Who should we have brought up that we haven't? And Deshaun Spears' name came up. It's like, okay, that's a guy who they gave him a little bit of time at the beginning of last year, and it didn't go great. And then they're like, we're just going to go with Sage Ryan and Jordan Gilbert, and we're just going to play the old guys, and we'll figure it out from there. Well, he's got all the physical tools. He could be a dude. And there are some candidates there that aren't going to be on preseason teams, but for LSU to do the things we're talking about, which is compete for the SC championship, compete for the college football playoff, you're going to have more than just these 2 guys on defense. Everybody's got to rise their level, and you've got to be strong and steady. And that's, I think, the model for this LSU team. You're not going to have 5 first-rounders like the 2006 draft. But can you be really good at every spot and just be solid? I think that's what LSU's kind of looking for on the defensive side of the ball, and even in some cases, the offensive side of the ball in 2025. All right, we just got one segment to go here. We'll take a timeout, come back, and close things up. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is the website. Captives. Not something I've talked to you about this week to this point, but we need to. I think it's the future of insurance. The folks at the Highland Insurance Group think it's the future of insurance. Kind of is the present in insurance as well. If you are a business owner and you've not discussed a captive with your insurance broker, you need to have that discussion. And Jonathan Carbo and his team are happy to have that with you. Your insurance broker should be a trusted part of your team, like your attorney, like your CPA, somebody that's involved in what you do, making sure that your company is in the best position moving forward. And so if a captive is something that's going to help your bottom line drastically in terms of your insurance cost, why would you not talk about it? Call Jonathan Carbo, check him out online at HighlandIG.com, say, hey, I need to have a conversation with you about captives. We haven't looked into it. And he'll tell you if you're a fit and whether or not they can make that happen for you. If they can, they're happy to. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online, HighlandIG.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. its past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
We're about wrapping things up. Big day at daycare for the Myers man today. I just got a picture sent across the wire. Mike the Tiger came to daycare. Big deal. It was LSU day. My guy wanted to wear his jersey. He was fired up to see Mike, and I just got a picture. He seems pretty fired up. We don't have Mike the Tiger come here.
Well,
another boring day at Guarantee.
I can't even say that because we didn't have sliders. We didn't have donuts. Like, it's been, I'm about to say, I've been sitting here just fighting the meat sweats. Like,
Foodie Friday
I'm about to say, I can't even.
Just a boondoggle for the rest of the staff.
Oh.
Brain does all the work, books the guests, goes ahead and does the segment, and then just the vultures come flying down,
man. I mean,
just eating stuff.
Brian, he's
coming from a guy that ate 3 sliders this morning. What are you going to say?
I might have knocked 5 of those bad boys out, bro. I'm not even going to lie. It was just so many.
Who brought the donuts?
Oh, I thought it was Cassie, so it was actually Taylor, because Cassie usually does that. She usually brings like little sweets and whatnot. So when I seen her this morning, I was like, oh man, shout out Cassie. I'm like, thank you for the donuts. She's like, oh no, Taylor wouldn't got those. So shout out Taylor. Hey, when Taylor comes through, that's to say the least. Taylor always comes through when you need him the most.
And then Cassie and Alondra got Chick-fil-A sent to the radio station at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I had donuts and Chick-fil-A this morning.
Yeah.
This place. Summer, it's lawless. We're gone for 4 days. There's no rules to this place. It's just a calorie contest around here.
I'm fighting it right now.
All right. Speaking of that, Corks is a great place to go get lunch or a late dinner. They bring you our Friday shows each and every week. If you have not tried Corks yet, get on over there and check them out. Their recipe for fried seafood. Born right here in the seafood capital of the world, Louisiana. So it's Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. CorksFishandShrimp.com. We got any take it or leave it?
Yes, we do.
Do it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take
Let me go. We got a sponsor for it now, so I got to talk about the sponsor.
Hey, what you got to do? Yeah.
Yingling. Flight by Yingling. We're going to the pool tomorrow because I've got the nieces in town with the Myers man. So we'll be headed out to the pool, and in the old ice chest, there will be Flight by Yingling. You can guarantee it. It's perfect summer beer, cold, refreshing, and it is light in calories, heavy on flavor. Talking about 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Perfect summer beer. It's Flight by Yingling.
So I guess you'll take that.
I will take Yingling for sure.
So start it off. Bradley Beal has agreed to a buyout with the Phoenix Suns. Oh, trust me, just wait for this. Which will result in him giving up roughly about $13.9 million over the life of his contract. That's cool and all that. With around $110 million left on his deal. That means Phoenix would agree to pay him $96.9 million over the next 5 years to go away, to simply get out the building. Generational wealth to go away. Would you take that or leave it?
I would take that. I would go away right now if somebody cut me a check for $95 million.
Oh, my clothes will still be here. That's how fast I move.
I'd be out of there. The NBA is so fascinating with the roster building, the moving of the poker chips, the chess pieces, the money. It is just every year it feels like somebody signs and they go, wait, who's the highest paid player in the history of the league this year? And like somebody pops up with some astronomical contract, and I'm like, that's just, I guess, what the market dictates for the NBA. They make a lot of money there in the National Basketball Association, and then generally speaking, can I go somewhere else? I don't really like it here.
I want to get out of here, man. I'm not satisfied. So to answer your question, who's making the most this season? That would be Jason Tatum at an estimated value of $313 million.
That's a pretty good deal.
That's pretty crazy. So
he won a ring, so you give him that.
Oh, yeah, you got to take care of your guys. Got to take it. What the Saints should do. They should follow suit. So fans will get an in-depth look at Bill Belichick's return to coaching at North Carolina in a new docuseries. Hulu will release this series. Keep in mind, Belichick and his girlfriend Jordan turned down to be featured on a college football version of Hard Knocks earlier this year. Will Bill Belichick keep his word this time around? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I don't believe he's going to do anything in the media. That's just my take on it all the time. Yeah. Maybe he's turned over a new leaf. He did some media when he stepped out of coaching. I can't figure out what's going on in Chapel Hill. I have no idea.
I want to see, though. I want to see what's going on. Like, game one, meaning like.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. But it feels like it's probably going to be a big nothing burger, and they're probably just going to go 7-5 a lot because that's just kind of what North Carolina is.
I'm about to say, and the ACC, I don't really see North Carolina becoming a top dog out the ACC.
If they got the right coach, they did, and they didn't hire a coach that was 75 years old and in the news, in the tabloids every week. Maybe do something a little different. Matt Brown was 100 years old when they hired him.
Which is crazy for Bill Belichick to be in the tabloids and to be,
It's quite the turn of events.
Crazy. So, that's all we have for Take It or Leave It today.
All right.
Let's talk about Bradley Beal's money.
Or leave it. Yeah, Bradley Beal getting that cash. All right, man, what a week. What a great week. So much fun in Atlanta. It's just action-packed. It's constantly moving, and that's the joy of it. Appreciate Guarantee for letting us go, and I hope that y'all all enjoy the content we were able to give you morning, afternoon, and evening from out there at SEC Football Media Days. We had a long conversation on Wednesday night about where it could go next. It sounds like, not that y'all care because you're not there. The content's all the same no matter if you're there or not, but it sounds like Orlando is very much in the mix. Sounds like New Orleans is very much in the mix. Houston as well. And Nashville has been mentioned. I don't think they're going to go right back to Dallas after last year. And it sounds like the days in Hoover are done. Maybe the event's kind of outgrown it to an extent. So it's a great event, I think, because of where it falls in the calendar. There's not just a lot going on right now. The College World Series is gone. MLB Draft is gone. You don't have camp for another 3 weeks. Like, either that or we start talking about list season or Mount Rushmores and stuff over here. So I had a great time this week. It was a thrill for me to go back for the first time in 12 years, and hopefully we'll be back next year. That's certainly the plan at this point. So back in action here on this Friday, and we'll back to a normal week next week for me. So looking forward to that. If you missed today's show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Open the show today with the news that Dan Borne, the longtime, nearly 40-year run as the public address announcer in Tiger Stadium and Pete Maravich Assembly Center, he has decided to to walk away from the microphone. It's going to give that opportunity to somebody else moving forward. So a lot of childhood memories and obviously early adulthood memories for me with Dan Borne's voice in those two. And I kind of talked about that at the top of the show, as it had just broken at that point. We talked to Preston Guy of TigerBait.com about LSU football. You can catch that at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your sound, certainly on YouTube as well. I talked about Tyler Shough and how they got to pay him. That was at 1:30. That'll be at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your sound, and on YouTube as well. I think it's ridiculous that he doesn't have a contract at this point, and we'll see if that changes over the course of the weekend. In the second hour, my predicted SEC football order of finish for 2025. Talked a little baseball draft signing with Chase Shores and Briggs McKenzie inking on the dotted line. And if you missed any of it, catch it wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show, like, subscribe, rate, review. Wherever you find your sound, find us, Hunt Palmer Show, Hunt on Saints, and Hunt on LSU. That'll do it for me. Matt is going to drive you home next on After Further Review. He's back in action as well. For me, I'm going to enjoy the weekend with some family. Back Monday, same time, same place. We'll be talking about probably Tyler Shough and probably some LSU football. Have a good weekend. It's Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.